Oh. Oh, okay.
I couldn't really get the pixel stuff done in time. I had a very, very eventful week coming back from Web Comic Con. Lots of networking and stuff. So that was like, oh no, that I have a treasure trove of business to do this week.
Sounds
So
fun.
sorry.
Sounds fun though.
Oh yeah, no, we had a blast. There was a lot of wacky stuff that happened that I'll be sure to dig into in the future, near the near future anyway. So, all right, webcam is on.
All right. And notification is out.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Knuckle.
Just Reynolds.
I'll just let some folks roll on in here. We already got Zero, Hillgard, and Nitral for you in the chat. Good to see you guys. Curtin and Felix as well. Good to see you. The Mid-Journey Witch Fnuckled.
That's me. You said my name right too. It makes me happy.
Yeah, I just put an N between
yeah, so you should.
Good.
Most people say F knuckle, and I'm like, no.
that makes it not fun. Not nearly as fun as Snuckle.
Yeah, it's none. Hey, okay, that was bad.
Got really smart. Fun Game Answer, and of course Rhapsody. Good to see you three. Hey-o. I think this is going to be a pretty fun stream, guys. I've been making the next Victor Gnarly comic. And I gotta say, bouncing off of Fnuckle's art has been amazing today. I've been doing it all day because I've just been prepping for the stream, but at the same time, I really like your glitch art like a lot. And I'm a fan of some of the bands that you've done posters for and stuff. So I'm like,
oh yeah, Big Machine Girl.
Yeah. I it's still such a weird coinky dink, honestly. Like no one else knows about that band but you and me. It's amazing.
My friend. So for everybody else, this is like before the pandemic, like right before the pandemic actually. But I made this like animated poster for this one event, and it was for Machine Girl, Space Cubs, and Fire Tools. And if you like that world of music, like Machine Girl is like super up there. Fire Tools is like up there, but maybe a little bit less. And then Space Cubs, I actually don't know. But one of my friends was in that band in Space Cubs, so that's why I got approached. Yeah. So it was really fun. Find the link.
That's awesome. What is it? I don't think my audio broadcasting works. I did use a Machine Girl song for my first I actually asked them for permission too, by the way. I used it for my first promo for the Movie Machine stuff. So I'll find that.
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, it was fun. Back before the pandemic days.
No,
everything was different.
Right. Yeah. People didn't care about how close you were to each other. Not nearly as much anyway.
Right.
And it was wearing masks in public when you felt a little ill was only a Japanese thing before COVID.
I know. It was like not a thing at all. But people would like look at you weird if you did that.
Right. it was certainly true that a lot of our behavior and I think just general social awareness grew because of COVID, just in general. It's kind of interesting actually. It in terms of like, I don't know, like uh my mother's like a big jet setter. She likes to travel a lot, and it was the only thing that like caused her to stop traveling all the damn time was COVID. She had her 70th birthday like 2 weeks ago, so it's like, yeah,
I mean,
really vulnerable.
I mean that sucks that she couldn't travel, but also good for her for like, I don't know. I feel like there's like a lot of people that just weren't respecting a lot of stuff and people going out and doing stuff like just didn't care. But like, I guess good for her for being respectful. Not that you could travel a lot of places anyways, but you know what I mean.
Yeah,
Like,
definitely. Yeah. I mean, I traveled in my bus, right? And you would think that like well, it's I knew that people were going to be a little weird and stuff, but like I was so isolated. It was really nice for national parks, like great to travel for the big open, you know, but
yeah, exactly.
if your goal was to like meet up and hang out with people, like that was not going to happen.
Right.
People kept their distance pretty good.
Yeah.
It would have done. Let's see here. I'm gonna get a video for you guys and post it in the chat here, because it is a Machine Girl song that I used for this. So let's see, where is it? Oldest videos, I guess. Let's grab. Yeah, here it is. Copy link. I'm gonna post this video in inside of VC text here, and I'm going to explain how this stuff works here, is because we got about enough people here to get the ball rolling. Let me actually see if this if you guys hear any audio from this. It started before the video showed up. That's great. Did you all hear that audio at all?
I heard you scream.
Okay, all right. No. Okay, cool. Yeah, I figured this wouldn't work because I have not updated my.
Well, I want to see. Okay, I keep him.
Yeah.
They will be, you know, it's actually very dangerous at all possibilities to drown.
Oh, you guys
can hear it very faintly, but
you hear it through my headphones. That's what it is. My headphones are so loud that you guys are hearing it through the microphone of my headphones. That's terrible. Okay. But yes, I linked it inside of VC text here because that band Machine Girl is awesome. I really do dig Machine Girl quite a lot. This was the second thing I ever animated with Midjourney.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
So, oh my god, the Lord. You're right. Like the Lord does go hard. Okay. Love that.
Yeah. And what is it? This is from the album Reporposed Fantasies. It's it's involving dolphins and anime girls, but yes, it is they're one of their more calmer albums. So I really do dig it. But yeah, so the way I did this video, by the way, let me just zoom in a little bit here. The way I did this video was actually before in painting. So what I ended up doing here, and I'm going to kind of double back to here. What I ended up doing was using variation subtle and basically compositing different results of Victor with his mouth like opening and closing and stuff like that. And that was just me literally re-rolling until I had all the consonants that you would normally need to do lip syncing. And so it was chaos. Honestly, this video it took a lot more work than it looks like. Today, we could do this video in about 5 minutes. Just because we can in paint the face and the hair and say, okay, give me like an ah or an ooh or whatever. You can literally type vowels and things, and the characters will say it. So like you can put quotes inside of your prompts, and the characters seemingly like there's a good chance that you're going to get the character kind of emoting that word. But it's really interesting actually. Really easy to get every one of the consonants if you take a mouth chart. So I'll pull up one of those really quickly, just so you guys can see. You can just Google mouth chart, and you'll get a standard like cartoon mouth chart from various different places. I'll zoom in on this one here. And you notice my little VTuber dude here. He is okay. No, it's a Pinterest. Okay, stupid Pinterest. Hold on. This one's actually, I think, good.
Can't escape Pinterest.
I hate Pinterest with a passion.
Everywhere. I love Pinterest, but it's annoying when you're like on Google. Like
Right.
just all have stuff. Like if you're just like on Pinterest, it's fun.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where I hate the idea of making accounts on websites. Honestly, like it just bugs the crap.
Oh yeah.
I hate any sort of walled gardening of the internet. Honestly, I missed the internet from like 2008, 2009. Probably the most. Like I found out this woman claimed to have invented gender reveals in 2008 because I was watching Internet Comment Etiquette. And it was definitely it's like they always mention Harambe. It's like, no, it's like it's the gender reveal parties. The world was better before gender reveal parties.
Popular.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So I linked this here really quick just for you guys. This it's inside of VC text. It is also a Toon Boom mouth chart. Toon Boom is an animation program. This is no. Please talk. I love co-hosts. Honestly, it keeps it keeps it fresh here for sure. I will ramble. No matter what, but it helps. See. So at this point, though, I do want to show something, which is that basically how to navigate this stream, because it's an interactive stream. You guys are more than welcome to join and share your projects here, and we're going to be prompting things together. And the way that works is that there are two channels inside of your Discord here. Right above the stage, you'll see VC Create and VC Text. Okay. In VC Text, that's where you can chat with me, and your chats will probably show up on YouTube eventually. I am super behind schedule because I have been traveling. I just came back from Detroit, so I'll get into that a little later. The Getter says ramble, no, never. Very funny guy. Actually, okay. Yeah. I'm a professional rambler. But let's see here. So above that is VC but just below that is VC Create. And VC Create is where the exciting stuff happens. As much as I love talking to you guys, VC Create is where we prompt things together, and we'll be able to make some pretty cool stuff. Yes, the Web Comic Con was in Detroit, Reveille, and it was a blast. I had so much fun. I met like 6 different people that I have talked to online and didn't even have a face to put on them, right? So it was quite a journey to get there too. It was 7 hours down and 7 hours up, so I drove for 14 hours to get it done. And I found out my flight would have been delayed, and it would have taken 8 hours to get down there. So that was I was like, yes, I really did not mind driving. Yeah, it was in Ferndale, Michigan, which is a suburb, or like basically a small city just outside of Detroit. And we essentially what we did was like 2 days of Q&A panels and signings and other things like that for all the webcomic artists on Reddit, Instagram, and other sources online. Comic-Con is like super saturated with corporate bullshit. Just to be real straightforward about that. It's awful. I can't stand watching Marvel. I can't stand watching any of this like Disney stuff anymore. There's in a blue moon, I'll find something I like The Boys, for example, like on Amazon. But that's it. Like it's super hard for me to engage with corporate media these days, and I blame AI like significantly for that. I just have so much more fun making stuff with you guys rather than like watching a lot of that stuff. So yeah. Anyway, So like inside of VC Create here is where we're going to be able to prompt things together. So the way that works is just go to VC Create, type /imagine, and then you'll be able to prompt whatever you want. Just keep in mind that this is a stream. There are minors that might be watching and stuff like that. In terms of like the content that you might be posting, we're usually pretty loosey goosey on that stuff here, but we don't have Ancient here today, so there will Fnuckled will be running the banhammer today.
I'll be the one spanking all of you.
Yeah, exactly. I gotta make a little PNG tuber for you here. So like it doesn't really work over Discord, right? Because I have to get your audio like isolated, and I could do that, but it's like everyone who talks will be bouncing around whenever that runs. So we'll make a little PNG tuber for you at some point, and that would be fun.
What is that?
It's like,
what does that mean?
It just means that it's like just like how my character moves around and talks, right? Yeah, it's a little VTuber, but instead of it being like tracking on a webcam, it's just your audio, so it'll bounce around just when you talk. Yeah, but if we have multiple people, like sometimes Kinky's here and other things, if anybody talks, that little doodad's going to start bouncing. So we'll mess around with that. There is a Steam program, like you could just download Steam and then download PNG Tuber, and that will let you be, I think it's called PNG Tuber Maker or something like that, and you can like make them very easily. It's just 2 images. Yeah.
Adobe has its own version of that too. It's like CC Animate or CC Carrot, something like that. I've tried to play around.
Yeah, it's what I'm using right now. I use a Adobe Character Animator to make my VTuber bounce around and track my webcam and all that, short stuff. It's really easy to do because it's easy to get started, but it's really hard to get really good at it. Rhapsody has an amazing VTuber that she built in there, but it took her super long time to get everything boned and rigged, while I just ripped apart a default model and then pinned it to the bottom of this chair. So I can wiggle, and that's about it. Yeah. Okay. So let's see here. Let's see what's going on in the chat here. Let's see. Hope your trip went well. Can't wait to hear about it from Really Smart. And I'll be sure to bring more up about it a little later. There's a couple of things that did happen during it that I'm sure that we'll talk about. And then Getters loves the boys. Yeah, I'm glad. It's a good show. I enjoy it. Okay. All right. Let's get started here. So, hi. Let's start with sharing at least a little bit of the stuff that we'll be getting started with. I really enjoyed one of Fnuckled pieces here, that in terms of the results that I was getting from it. So I'm going to share this one here inside of VC Text so that it stays up a little longer. This piece here gave me the best results. I will include 2 or 3 others, but here's Rhapsody's character, just to give you guys an idea of just how impressive it is. Honestly, she can move the hands independently, and if she pulls her hand out, it shows like a little indicator, so you can point on the screen wherever it is. So it's for her presentations that she does, and it's amazing. It's awesome. She has one of the best tubers that I have seen come out of Adobe Character Animators. So, but that took a whole lot of work, and those wings are all boned and everything. It's ridiculous. Okay, so with this, thank you so much for linking. She has a ton of different of these like kind of glitch posters and stuff that she's made. And I'll include a few others later that I got like decent results with, but this is the one that really knocked it out of the park for me. So when it comes to prompting with images, it's called image prompting. There's a couple different ways you can do it with Midjourney. I'm going to punch myself in here so you guys can see. I'm going to punch myself. Okay. So what I'm going to do is first thing we do is we grab the link for that image, and then what we can just prompt it inside of Midjourney just by pasting that link. And let me move this up a little bit. There you go. So we can prompt it just by pasting a link in there. This is called an image prompt, but you need to include it with something else, because latent space essentially is like, it's not really a map at all. It's just, you're going to be picking you're going to be picking the median point between between the words inside of your prompt and the image that's linked, or two or more images. So you can kind of blend things together by including multiple links, or you can find like a mix between what Midjourney understands inside of your prompt and the image prompt itself. So in this case though, we are going to first just do a generic prompt in terms of just getting this in here. So I'm gonna do a glitch art just to start. Hey, Ryan. This will do a blend between the result of glitch art and the image that's included. Okay. And just to kind of see what happens with this, we'll also use the new version 6.1 of Midjourney that just came out. I love 6.1. It's kind of blowing my mind. I don't think I need to use Niji anymore for the workflow that I normally have. But I am excited for future versions of Niji. So let's take a look at the first result here. With 6.1, we got it's looking at like the context of the image, and then essentially Midjourney is going like, I'm gonna make the lady more complete. Like it's basically filling it in here, giving us more of a completed face on its own. And there's a couple different ways that we can mess with image prompts with parameters. For example, if I redo this prompt and then add the parameter -IW, that is image weight, we can set that to 3, and that will force the result to lean very heavily, or max in at least in the maximum way. We are going to lean the result towards the image rather than what's inside of the prompt, the text of the prompt. And so we can see that the result of that is, you guys are already going hard. I'm not surprised, but I love it. And you can see it got even more glitchy. It gave us less of a recognized like solid face because it's relying a lot more on Fnuckled art rather than what's inside of Midjourney to determine the result of the image here. Now, you can see here, let's see, Getters is doing glitch art of puppies. Oh my God, that looks amazing. That first one is like straight. Machine Girl literally has a song that's entirely about dogs. By the way, My Brain on Dogs is so good. It's such a. Now, keep in mind, everything that's made by that band is kind of like. I can't say that. I need I call it beat boot music. It's very loud, noisy, noise punk kind of stuff. I'm going to punch myself for my troll. I love it when you guys quote me. I know that Ancient started that trend, and it's just so fun to see that. But he did this as a style reference, which means it's a little bit different. It basically refers to Fnuckled art as a construction, basically. Like, what are the rules for my results? So all the results will have a similar aesthetic, but it'll be completely detextualized or decontextualized. So that means that whatever you write in your prompt tends to get more represented than it would be if we did an image prompt. So the style reference is something that you get to a better understanding with practice. But just imagine it that it's taking the subject out of the image and looking at just how the image is stylized, and then that's what it's being used as the reference. So here's where I got really excited about this. Okay. I actually used Fnuckled art as a character reference. Okay. So I'm going to paste this here, but in the front of this link now, I'm going to add hyphen and then cref, which is character reference. Okay. And
we need to be like, oh my God, this is so cool. Okay. Yeah, keep going.
I just wait.
This is gonna
do some real fun stuff. Okay, so basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna explore Voidspace, and Voidspace is really interesting to me because what we do is we just add 2 quotes to the front of the prompt and nothing else. And what this essentially does is, well, okay, let's add version 6.1. I'm sorry, I forgot that it's defaulting to version 6, right? So 6.
I had something to say about this actually.
Oh, I want to hear it.
Because the devs have commented on this before, when we were doing a lot of the guys were doing the personalization test before it was released, and we were making this whole thing where we each would put in this prompt essentially with the apostrophes and then the quotes, and then like our personalization codes. And the devs were like, actually, when you do that, you're what's the word? You're like it actually like because the apostrophes force the text model to be used more in the generation, you're actually in like slightly different of a space than you would be with just the regular model. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because the text model is like slightly, it's like you're like inputting the text-based model, but it almost like doesn't know what to do with it because it's like you don't have any text in the apostrophes, but it does have the apostrophes, which is basically like summoning that text model.
Yes, we're entering a space that's largely unknown in terms of like the results. Right. Like it's really fascinating stuff when we dig into it. And I saw some of the guys on my server messing with this as well. It's I don't know how far back we were able to do this, but it's definitely been really fun to see what you guys do with it. But here's where we get into void space. Okay, at least my definition of void space is when we start using negative prompts on top of this. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to start deleting stuff from Fnuckled art. Okay. So my favorite from this, because this piece focuses a lot on eyes, just do -- no, and then eyes. Okay. And you could go into Photoshop and like manually remove the eyes necessarily, but that's not what we're doing. We're basically telling it to ignore eyes inside of latent space, right? So, and I love everything you guys are doing. We're going to dig into everything you guys do a little later because there's just a lot to go through with this stuff. But I'm loving the little salamander dude. This is one of the characters from my server. I'll be sure to give Fnuckled my link to the server so you guys can join it if you like. It's where we do most of our experimentation and also build the comics. So let's see here. I'm going to okay. So here is the result for no eyes, and there's still eyes in the prompt, right? But we are we're starting to see objects and things that are not meant, particularly landscapes. Okay, and those landscapes are really where I found the most interesting remixes that we can mess with. So basically, you can reroll different negative prompts and keep adding words, right? So no face. We could try that really quick and see if it lets us do that. There is a point where you have to like where you essentially you get into the too many negatives and you have to have a positive element to your prompt. So you can go too far doing this. But that being said, what I tend to do, or at least what I was doing today, was I was finding prompts of like environments in here or prompting for environments and then mixing my characters in there. And I Troll for You was already watching me do this earlier. Legal Beagle was watching me do this earlier. So I'm going to grab this one here, this third one here, because it's clearly a landscape. Okay. And what I'm going to do is making sure that I have have remix mode on. You can do that by hitting /settings. Okay. And inside of /settings, you're going to see remix mode. Make sure that is on because that's like my bread and butter, honestly, is remix mode. It makes all the difference for doing iterative prompting, where we are prompting where we start, where actually the final product is not the first thing we get. It is the final product is the end result of multiple prompts that we run on the same image. Okay. You'll see me do that in practice by hitting the reroll button or variation buttons, and then the window pops up again. Oh, look at this. This is one of Rhapsody's new characters that she's been working on. This is a potion girl for the fantasy series. And what I'm going to do, though, is I am going to first actually, you know what? We can work off of this one here. We can work off of Rhapsody's here. So let's do a variation strong. Now that we have her character in it, it has the glitch art in there, all that sort of stuff. We are actually going to delete the character reference now because we're doing a variation strong. It's going to look at the image itself, but it's going to remove the composition. So like essentially it'll do some really weird, interesting stuff. But I am going to do this in Voidspace by doing quote, just quote. That's all I'm doing is I'm taking that out. In terms of the stylized being so high, I will see what the result is on that. But you know, you can either drop that or erase that. We're entering some new weird places with this stuff. Okay, so we may want to, you know, fudge a couple of those numbers and see what we get. Some of this stuff is ridiculous in terms of like the floating headspace stuff. Okay, wait, missing required word. Okay, I haven't gotten that error before. Or okay, let's double back then. It says this channel requires you use one of the following words in your prompt. O A I E U. Okay, this is new. I've never seen this.
What?
I've never seen this before. Look at this.
That's like that's like a setting for that's probably like that's probably from like prompt battles or something. Let me bug somebody, see if I can get that out.
Cool, thank you. We'll let that run for a minute. We'll let Fnuckled get that troubleshooted here. I'm actually going to pull up. I got my own prompts that I'm going to pull up, so this is fine. You can take all the time you need because yep.
Really, just so I can screenshot it, like easier.
There you go.
Got it. Thank you. All right,
Perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up one of my results that I got. Just so you guys can see what this is like. You can, if you want to know how to do this, by the way, how to bring up your prompts inside of a different server, like say like you make one in a private server, or you've PM'd the bot to generate something, but you want to bring it into a group server, you could use /show to bring the prompt up. So the only thing you do is you go to the reacts here, and then you select the I have a lot of fun emojis, sorry. If you click the envelope here like this, you're going to get a notification from Midjourney, and Midjourney is going to give you an ID code for your prompt, and you can then just type /show, and then it says job ID. You just paste that job ID there, and it will show up in with whatever Discord has Midjourney on it. So I'm going to grab let's see here. I'm going to grab the one that I am particularly excited to show you guys. Let's see. Yes, this one here. Okay. Job ID. So this was a result that I got from working with the void prompts, where we're just putting quotes with nothing written in them. And you'll see this very first result is essentially like just an open landscape of a whole lot of nothing. Okay. But when I remixed my my character in there, I got something kind of like it's pretty cool to see Victor just kind of standing in a very similar sort of environment. But then if I did a variation strong of that, I got this. So I'm going to do /show, paste the job ID, and then post it in here. This result here blew me away. Honestly, I'm going to up-res the second one here for you guys. Not only were we finding sailboats and stuff with this prompt, I was saying looking down from the mountaintop with version 6.1, this is a variation strong off of that previous image with Victor inside of the image. So we essentially got, if you zoom in on this and take a close look, it is one of, like, I love the palette knife paint that it used to kind of construct this. The right side isn't palette necessarily, like the spiky mountaintop here, but this left here is all looking like thick palette knife paint. And that sort of like it's super believable to me. If you cut off just this 2/3 of the image and you just have this left side, I wouldn't be able to tell that's generated necessarily. So here's the thing about this, okay? If we now go ahead and start to do, I believe, let me double check exactly what I did, because I don't want to like mispronounce anything or otherwise mislead you guys in any directions here, I am just going to scroll way too far up inside of my private server really, really quick. Just give me a moment. And because I started constructing the next Victor comic based on one of these results, I was just super, super happy with it. And I really just dug it like super hard. But I need to find it first to make sure that I confirm the chain that I did.
Oh,
Mhm.
it. We added. I guess we couldn't get rid of the list, so we added a dash as or hyphen as part of the list. So we should be good now.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
So I just need to put a hyphen in there.
Yeah, which happens when you do like the dash CREST.
Okay. I see. Yeah, it's perfect. All right. That makes total sense. All right. I'm almost at the correct prompt here. I ran a repeat of 10 on this result, actually. I just really wanted to see all the different spaces we'd be able to go to because of this image here. So by doing a remix strong of one of these results here, let's see. Yeah, I think I was just re-rolling this, but here is, I'm going to do yes, this one here. Click key. Sorry, guys, just a moment. I am going to now grab, this is yep, okay, just a moment. And we got it. Okay. So I'll do /show to show you guys really like what we're able to venture into with this image here. This is doing a variation strong. Oops. Why is that not working? Okay.
Sometimes I don't know.
Yes, sometimes just gotta smack it again.
Yeah.
So the Victor Gnarly like series, which is called Beyond the Valley, actually involves Victor kind of like picking up driftwood and using that as a staff, like a magical staff, through the comic series. And I managed to find the stick again. Okay. I was really happy with this result. It let me be able to use Fnuckled art to kind of get us into a mountainous glitch space that it just really excited me when I was looking at this image. And so I cleaned it up a little bit. I basically, what I did here was I did a variation region, and then I started using character reference to start highlighting Victor here. And I just selected mostly just around him so that the hair would be replaced, the body would be replaced, so on and so forth. And what I ended up with here, and I'll link this here. The final result of me doing these sort of in paints but character referencing gave me this. This blew my mind. Because by the time we got this here, we had Victor slowly walking to the stick, basically. And I wanted to give him a place that he was walking from. Okay. So I re-rolled the previous prompt again, and I got this bad boy, which anytime I can reference Midjourney with the sailboat somewhere in the background is super trippy to me, honestly. So like what I want you guys to do is to try to get Victor to be walking towards camera up this mountain here, because whenever I prompted this myself, this is kind of a last minute thing for me. I always got Victor looking at the sailboat as opposed to climbing the mountain towards camera. And so let's try to do an in paint of Victor and see what the results are when we do it. So I have Victor saved here as a /prefer. And what that means is that I have his character codes, like all the image links for his character, saved inside of Midjourney. And you can do that with /prefer, and you'll see something called option set. When you create a character, you're basically just combining a bunch of links or using one master image as your character reference. And you can see I've saved a lot of characters, okay? But what we can do is just give your character a name, like, I don't know, like Dianis or something. And then when you click plus more here, that's where you include all the links under value for your character. So you might see that there's like some people have like 1 or 2 images, or maybe a whole bunch of images like this one here. And so what we can do is we can just select all these links, paste them into your value, and then whenever I write Dennis, all these links it replaces that. So that's essentially how /prefer works. But I have Victor already saved in here, so I'm going to show you guys what this looks like when we are actively doing it. So we can just hit /imagine, okay, and then I'll do. Let's just have Victor. I don't know. We can have a speech bubble that reads, "Welcome to Voidspace." Okay, and then I'll do --cref. And now, because I have Victor saved inside of Midjourney, I can just do --Victor, okay? And we'll do version 6.1. And what this is going to do is see everything where I wrote --Victor is now all those links that I had earlier. And you can essentially just pull up your characters very, very fast with this. It allows you to also do quick emotes and comics and things like that. So yeah, welcome to Voidspace, everybody. This is going to be pretty interesting to see what you guys start to do with your characters now, because we could either run Fnuckled art as a style reference for this. So let me grab her art here again, this one here, and we'll do because I have remix mode on, I can just hit reroll on this, okay, and that will bring up the prompt again. I'm going to add --style reference and then paste Fnuckled art here. Okay. So we're combining style reference and character reference together. Oh, look at this. Climbing the mountain with a variation strong. I can tell it's variation strong because it's a whole new composition, but that is awesome. The mountain backpacking going up the hill like this. This is awesome. But now here is the exact same result that we had earlier, but we're running it with a style reference that includes Fnuckled art. So I like this third one a lot.
So question.
Yes.
So if you run, if is it generally true that when you run crefs and srefs together, that you'll get the cref will affect the character in the foreground and the srefs will just affect the background?
Well, it's a list of priorities in my opinion. So like cref is always more powerful than style reference, while style reference is almost always more powerful than what's written in your prompt or your image prompt there. Now that's a super simplified way to explain it. It's there's better ways to say it, but I find that order makes the most sense for people when I explain it. So like whatever you write, whatever words that are inside of your prompt, right, that will be the least powerful thing compared to style reference, and then compare that to character reference. So
and that's about doing like the weighting and whatnot.
But like, without doing any weighting. Yeah, no weighting whatsoever. That's just the base results. Like especially when it comes to character weight, right? Like if you run a really low character weight of 0 or 5 or whatever, your character will still dominate the result. It just won't look like or be very close to the images you've provided, which is good when you want to venture into space, like venture out there and go beyond what's in your character art. Right now I have the character weight at 100, which is the default, right? But if I re-roll this prompt and then run the character weight at like 0, which is like the opposite, where it's a very, very little weight on the character or on the cref, and we'll also do it at 50 so that you guys can kind of get an idea of what this does. So --CW50. Essentially, the results will be about half as powerful in the character reference by doing it at 50. But see, at 0, we still get a character that looks a lot like Victor, but he won't be wearing the same outfit. And it's largely because the lower your character weight is, the more it only focuses on the face of the character to be like your character. Essentially, the lower your weight is, the more it kind of allows unique diversity and results. So now Victor doesn't even face camera in one of the results because the character weight is so low, which is awesome. Like just being able to And I see you guys are doing what I asked you to do and try to get Victor up that mountain. Whichever one of you guys do the most interesting, especially if he's kind of like, not maybe either hands in the pockets climbing up the mountain, you can clearly tell it's an incline, or he's actually like all fours, like crawling up the mountain. Awesome. I'd like that. I just want as much interaction with the environment as possible. But let's upraise the second one here with character weight 0. And you could see with character weight 50, his outfit is now kind of a gray tone, or it's still blackened, but it's no longer randomized between white and black. It is somewhere in the middle. When I was working with the character approach for at least before CREF existed and whatnot, Victor is largely a silhouette. There's a reason why he's mostly black and white, and it's because I want to be able to not have him wear a million different kinds of outfits. I don't want a bunch of patterns that change every result. Now with character referencing, we can kind of be more strict about that stuff. But before, like in version 4, oh my god, this was amazing to be like, I get a consistent character that I can kind of use for my comics. Now we could do this with basically any character. But I wanted to show with the results here that you can see that at 0, look at, he's wearing short shorts. Like you can see my booty. Like that's essentially what a character weight of 0 will do. Is it will only focus at what's in the head, and it may even have the character not even looking at camera, which is very, very useful when you're trying to do storytelling. Because maybe I want Victor interacting with some other character, and I need him not looking at camera. Another way you could do this is by using a character reference or an image of Victor as, the backside of Victor as a character reference. So if I were to say isolate this image here and just have the backside of him and then use that as the character reference, I will always have the backside of the character. That's very, very useful when we start getting into the character sheets, which is like the end product of doing the character workshop here. So you can see Victor is in this result here from Legal Beagle. This is a character weight of 50. So we're allowing for a good amount of diversity in what Victor might look like here. But he's going to be wearing a dark outfit, and he may be not definitively male. The lower your character weight is, the more likely it'll randomize the gender of your character, because we're only focusing on the face with the lower that number is. So there's some really cool results that just came off of this one from Legal Beagle, right? I cannot wait to show you some of the ridiculous stuff that we're going to be able to get into when it comes to doing variation strong off of one of these results, because we have Victor clearly in the shot in some of these. Like you could clearly tell that it's him and he's looking at camera. Let's find the one that I upresed here just now. Yeah, you can see there's a ton of ones of Victor kind of like at this like over the shoulder high angle shot. But what we're gonna do is, okay, yes, so this one here, it has a little bit of a seatbelt like thing going on in the background here. That shouldn't matter too much. What I mostly want to show you guys is by doing a variation strong on any result that has like your character nice and prominent in there. You can just delete the character CREF entirely, and it does a good job preserving at least the core parts of your character, as long as the character takes a good amount of the frame. Because whenever you're doing a variation strong, essentially what happens is that you're going to be using the existing imagery, but it's not going to preserve the composition like variation subtle will do. But what I mean by preserve the composition is the character will be in the same spot, basically. So variation strong will let your character move around, but we want to make sure that we give it some new direction with variation strong. So let's try, instead of taking a selfie while rock climbing on the mountains, let's say he drops his camera while hiking, while hiking the mountain. Okay. And then I'm just going to submit this. There is a style reference attached to this, so we get some silly results. We'll see what happens. But by doing a variation strong, we can start to see it building up here. We may not get the actual camera falling. We'll see what the result is. but you could see that now we have a character that largely looks like Victor in the sense that it's the right what do you call it? It's the right like silhouette of a dark character that's in it, but we're much farther away from him. We're significantly farther, simply because we're prompting for probably with that style reference is attached. Let's double check what the style reference is. Okay, yes. Okay, so the style reference is of Victor already small in the composition. It's looking at the aspects of this image and then trying to replicate certain parts of it. And Victor being so small here at the bottom of the frame is being replicated with this shot here. So let's try this now by removing the style reference, okay? Because the style, like I said, the style reference is the second most powerful thing. The most powerful being character reference, and then style reference. But this is without getting all silly with weights and balancing your parameters and stuff. We can just delete the style reference entirely, okay? And submit this. And so by deleting the style reference, we're essentially saying, all right, Midjourney, go wherever the hell you want. Just try to replicate the imagery that I have in here and try to follow my prompt, okay? And so you could see that this result now is kind of going all over the place. We don't really have Victor in here anymore, but we definitely have a person that's backpacking, mountain biking, or climbing with a stick. We didn't prompt for a character holding a stick at all. It's just that was in the original image that we're bouncing off of is Victor holding that stick. Okay. So what we can do is if we like any of these compositions, okay, let's just say we're a fan of this third one here. Okay. Then what we can do is do a variation subtle. I'm going to quickly copy the character reference here. Yes. Yeah, this is what I want. This is what I want. Thank you so much. This result here, and this is by Legal Beagle. This is the result I was looking for. It was basically lots of environmental interaction, and he got that with a character weight of 50 and said crawling on all fours up the mountain. So that's awesome. And I am gonna save that on my Midjourney account just by upresing it. And then let's see here. Okay, so now we have this result here. Without a style reference, it's largely just looking at the painterly sort of effect of the environment, okay? And creating a result that is in terms of the character, and also because there is no character reference in it yet, we're largely relying on the idea of a mountain biker, or like a mountain hiker, I mean. So let's force Victor in there, but preserve the composition, like preserve the where the character sits in the frame. At least this is what should happen. There's always a chance that things don't go the way we planned. But what we can do is add --cref and then paste our character links into there. Victor's character links, by the way, are basically each one of them is unique, but they all are of the same character. That's kind of the short and skimmy of it all. There is a lot more to it, especially like Rhapsody does a really great presentation describing, what sort of diversity you should have and what you shouldn't have for your image links in order to get a reliable character. You could also just use one of these images if you're just happy with the results of that one image. But by blending images, we essentially randomize the posing and the look of the character in terms of the between all these different results, because they're all going to be blended at different, somewhat randomized values between each other. So what we're going to do is we have this as cref and then have the links in there. Now we're going to do this as a variation subtle. Okay. So what should happen is Victor should mostly prompt inside of this here, and the background will start to share aspects of Victor, as in it's like all black and white, and it largely looks like the character. But let's see what we got here. Okay, there you go. So now we have a variation subtle where Victor is literally in the same spot, but because of Victor's art style is much more cartoonish and flat, look what it did with the environment. It did the same thing. It made it cartoonish and flat with the color, but we still have that. We still have that deep valley that's behind it. We still have the space that we can venture into. Just because we did a variation subtle, rather than variation strong. Yeah, going nuts with this essentially is how you can do storytelling with just the two variation buttons, because you can find a sort of composition that you like that completes like the vision that you have for your story. But then just throw your character in there with a variation subtle. Okay. You copied one with the serifs I changed for this. Okay. That's all good. Like, it doesn't really matter. Like, people can, oh, okay. Yes. Cool. You went through and did a bunch of, the images. I see. You added some to the character reference. Nice. That's all good. I just copied it from one of the results. That's all good. Any of these sort of like little things is fine with me. But okay, look at this. He's popping his head up here. Okay. We could then composite a different result of this, where we now have him, climbing closer to camera, because we already know that we have that. We got that in a different result. So I like this a lot. This one's fun. Yeah, see, this is the other result. So we could take these two images and composite them together to essentially have Victor climbing towards camera. Okay. So at this point, what I really want to kind of dig into, oh, look at this knitted wool character climbing on all fours up the mountain. I love anytime there is a a plushie, like anytime there's like plushies, because it really shows you like the sheer power of variation strong, because it really tries to preserve what's inside the prompt written. So we're getting plushies here. But oh man, it's just super cool. Any sort of knitted wool, or one of my favorite prompts is a abandoned doll, will also do sort of a similar sort of thing. Look at this. So like, if say I had a comic series, or a a novel, or a movie or whatever, and I wanted to mock up what a toy would look like for my story, like I'm already thinking about merchandising and stuff like that. You can use Midjourney to create toys, to create your character, but as a toy, or as a plushie, or as like even like a just changing the medium, like you're going to do like a sticker, right? Like a graphic sticker. So like, for example, if I want to /imagine here, and then I say, sticker, design, and then cref hyphen Victor, because I have him saved inside of Midjourney, and then version 6.1. We will probably get a version of Victor that has a white outline around it, as if you're going to cut it out for a sticker, and kind of imagine that it has an adhesive or something like that. There we go. It's almost done. This is extremely useful for people who work in the arts, because it lets them be able to quickly visualize all sorts of different options for how their character, or their character art, or maybe even just like their anyway, it just lets you be able to use your art in a way that lets you explore it and see the potential of it for merchandising products, that kind of thing. So for this here, I really like the one where he's holding it, but I also like the one with the pink background here. Yeah, Wolf Victor. I'm ignoring the Wolf Victor. You guys can do whatever you want with Wolf Victor. But look at this. This just looks stupid real. Now there is a little bit of weird, like kind of cut here, right? We could easily in-paint that out, but it's ridiculous how real of a photo this looks. This looks like it was just shot on a new modern phone, at least to me. But this here is like just super clean. I could just add a little bit of a white border to the bottom of this image, most likely with just a variation region. So I'll just select this here. And there's a good chance that if I just box selects this here, it will just bring Victor's waist down, and we won't get a white box here. We can force a white box, or try to force one, by including a little bit of that pink background at the bottom of the frame. So let's do something like this. You notice I did not go all the way to the bottom. I'm sorry, this is pretty small. But yes, I did not go all the way to the bottom. And then I hit submit on this, because it's exactly the same prompt. I'm not changing any aspect of it. I literally am just region selecting and saying, this area here, let's try something else. Let's try something new with this. And you can see as the results of that, it did exactly what I was expecting it to do, because I preserved the bottom line as being pink. Therefore, the next logical step is I need to put a white bar on the bottom of this sticker. Okay. That is how you use Midjourney with intent, because you understand that Midjourney is going to try to take the shortest route possible to solve your problems by default. So the most logical thing that makes sense is just to continue the shirt down to the bottom of the frame. But if you leave that little strip of pink on the bottom, you essentially say, now you can't do that. So what are your other options? Right. And now I have the exact sticker that I was expecting, and I can now use for whatever purposes I want. That's freaking neat, isn't it? It really just shows what you can do with it. Hey, look at this. And just exploring stickers with your characters is really fun. But I wanted to mostly show you guys this because of that one plushie result. But if there's anything that the other like comic artists that I've worked with and whatnot, like a bunch of them are kind of like iffy about using Midjourney at all, but there's a good number of them that do privately. Like they just kind of explore with it. They do references maybe. They're just kind of thinking like, okay, let's try to think out of the box with Midjourney today. There's so much utility in that alone. But once we start incorporating like character referencing and style referencing, suddenly it looks a lot like your own art. Like if I take any of my previous comics and then run that as a style reference or a character reference, then it's far more likely going to look like the existing comic series that I have. So when we're running Fnuckled art as a character reference, essentially what's happening here is it's effectively treating it like a character, right? But we can do this with inanimate objects too. Like if we wanted to do like we did a castle once, and that became the daily theme, which was a trip for me because we ended up with like 8,000 results for one castle. But by using this as the character reference, we essentially there's no definable character in it. So it has to decide what else it could use for the character reference. And that's why we're able to get into some weird places earlier in the stream. Okay. So at this point, what I want to show you guys is some of the results that you guys came up with. This was the most common sort of result that I got off of this image, which was Victor looking down at the sailboat. Okay. This could easily be because of just a lot of these mountain shots feature the backs of people's heads, and generally speaking, if there is a feature set or something that's featured in the center of your image, the characters tend to look at it. They tend to like be a part of the feature set in that way. There's a couple different ways that we could try to force Midjourney to behave as to have Victor coming towards camera rather than looking at the sailboat. And you could see that some people are already doing it, where they just run the straight character reference and basically just re-roll him again and again and again. But there is another way to do it, which is once you do have a successful result. Okay, so let's go up and grab the one where we had good climbing up here. There we go. This one here. Okay. I'm going to middle click this image here, and that's going to let me get a link for it inside of my browser. And now that we have the link for this, I can go back down to that result that we liked. It's a lot of stuff for me. Is look at this. That's awesome. For some reason, I'm getting Rescue Rangers vibe from this. Probably because it looks like I need to get rescued from those rocks. But what we're going to do is we are going to find that one result that we had earlier of, yes. Okay. So we have this was done as a variation region. So most of the image is preserved except for the bottom part of the frame here. I'm going to jump back to that previous prompt, do a variation region myself, and then I'm going to add --cref. But then after pasting the link in cref, I'm also going to paste the link to the front of the prompt. This is, making it an image prompt. So we're essentially doubling down what Victor should be doing here, because the image prompt is a lot more likely going to preserve the composition of your image, right? So like if you know that the results are giving you just a character from the waist up, by including that as an image prompt, that essentially will always keep your character at waist height. So the only thing I do here is I just submit it and I kind of get an idea of what the results are going to be once I have this area selected here. So I would love to have Victor climbing up the mountain here. And because of the angle of it and all that stuff, we kind of want to make sure that he's as close to the sailboat as possible so we have the most amount of room for the character to sit. So what we're going to do is submit this now, and we'll take a look at the results. I will say that Midjourney has definitely gotten a speed boost because of 6.1. There's a couple things that I'm not used to how fast it's knocking it out. So I also have turbo mode on. So if you're wondering why I'm prompting so quickly, it's because I have 6.1 turbo mode on. Okay, so now look at this. We were able to preserve that previous image, but we have Victor interacting with the mountain now because that's what's inside of the image prompt. Okay. And the character reference is essentially forcing the character to have the black outfit and all that stuff. So by combining those two approaches, we end up with a very reliable in-painting workflow, because as soon as I get Victor doing something on a generic mountain or whatever, I can get him doing that on any generic mountain, like any result that we get here, plus or minus one or two sort of scenarios where things got a little too tough. This is huge, like huge when it comes to storytelling, because we're essentially saying, hey, you're climbing the mountain, right? So we want to make sure that there's plenty of interaction with the rocks here. So let's go with the third result here. I think if anyone actually tried to do this, it would be like child abuse to be like, okay, hey kid, you're gonna have to be on a walkabout for 3 months going up this mountain or whatever. Yeah, that they don't do that no more. But climbing the Eiffel Tower, crawling up the Eiffel Tower, I see. It's interesting how it always picks at least one historical photo to mix in with the Eiffel Tower here. I also find it funny that in the third result, I'm climbing the Eiffel Tower, but there's a clone of the Eiffel Tower behind him as well. So that's fun. Okay, so I'm going to take a couple sips here from my smoothie, but I am going to share this with Fnuckled really quick, because I think she has to be the one that actually posts this inside of the VC text, because I'm not allowed to post links for servers.
Yeah.
Can you do that?
Kicked. Yes, I should be. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and then you get kicked.
Like I did on before, but like with my luck, you know.
Right. I was just kind of laughing at the idea of like you of all people getting kicked from the Midjourney server would be just hilarious. Let me go ahead and I'm just gonna PM it to you really quick. Boop. That way you have the link to it now, so you should be able to post it inside of VC text. I'm going to jump over to VC text for you guys. And I'll read off some of your comments here. And while we get that link for the Gnarly Studios, there we go. Thank you so much, Fnuckled. That is super helpful for people. So Gnarly Studios is it's interesting. We definitely dropped numbers in members recently. And that was largely because I ran a prune on it, and there's a good number of people who were pretty inactive there for a little while. So I am I like having members that are active and engaged and stuff. So losing a couple of them, not a big deal. Thank you guys so much for joining and interacting with us and making stuff with us. You can join that server and be able to see my comics being made in real time. As well as make your own comics or your own video, like your own images for video and everything else there. And you'll be able to just, see how we do things. Let's see. Reveille said, this is great stuff. Thank you. Have to drop, but look forward to watching the replay. Yeah, for sure. And I'll get everything up on YouTube. You just search Victor Gnarly or go to victorgnarly.com and click the YouTube link. And yeah, you'll get there. You'll be able to check it out. But at this point, the main thing I want to emphasize though, guys, is that the server itself is a heavily moderated one, right? So just use the text chat to hang out and stuff. Don't be pinging people like crazy. All right, it's thanks to I Troll For You, Rhapsody, and Legal Beagle that place has any sanity whatsoever. So 3 claps for them. Thank you so much. And from here, I want to emphasize that yeah, you guys definitely provide sanity to that server, because it's when it was just me alone, right? I'm in a position of going like, oh no, like I went to bed and I woke up and people are going crazy, so and doing all sorts of weird stuff. Let's see. Gum Pasta said, never found the time to join these events. Glad I got here today, enjoying this. Generally confident in text prompting, but image stuff I have a lot to learn. Yeah, it's certainly true that image prompting is kind of a big leg up when you really start to understand the differences between character referencing, style referencing, and image prompting. Image prompting is how you preserve the composition of either your in-paints or your variations, right? So that's how Victor is able to be climbing the mountain here in a very similar pose as what's inside of the image prompt. The start, you see the link at the start here. I used a character reference of that same image to preserve at least some of the details of Victor so that he's always wearing a similar outfit or whatever. Just by using an image prompt, we might get the similar posing, but his shirt might be different. His hair or his face might be slightly different. The character reference is essentially forcing those details into place. So at this point, we could also do this with any of the with any of these results that are kind of a little off, right? So like if I jump back up to this prompt here and then I hit vary region, okay, Victor doesn't really look great here because he's wearing the wrong shirt. He's got a little extra muscle mass to him, like that kind of stuff. He's a really scrawny guy normally. So the reason why that is because the character weight is at 20 for this image. And I'll double check here what the actual character reference is. Okay. All right. So it's just this one image of Victor that's being used, which is fine. But we're going to switch that to 90 instead of 20. And then we'll do an in-paint of everything that's wrong about this image when it comes to Victor's character design. So I'm just going to come into here and select the shirt. And I'm going to save the pants because you really want to compartmentalize your in-paints. This is the whole iterative part. So we're going to just worry about his shirt and elbows for now and submit that. And hey, look at that cute little robot version. That's nice. So especially if you do have your own Discord server, the sticker prompts are great because they tend to be cropped and positioned in a way that makes sense for emojis and makes sense for your stickers that you have in Discord here. So very useful for just having fun. But now let's take a look at the result of the in-paint here. Okay. And you can see now Victor's wearing a dark shirt. His shirt is at least mostly accurate to the outfit he's normally wearing. So let's go ahead and do another in-paint here. But this time we're going to focus on everything we didn't correct last time. Ooh, look at this dragon. Nice. But this time we're going to focus on his face and the fact that he doesn't really have a prominent chest or anything like it. So we're going to just highlight the face, neck, so on and so forth. But he does have spiky hair, right? So I'm going to keep most of those spikes there because that's going to give Midjourney a frame of reference of how big the proportion should be of this character. It's very, very important to recognize that if you in-paint too big of an area, your character is going to be a big head, right? Because it's essentially trying to fill that space evenly. If we get really tight with the in-paint, or at least too tight, we might actually have that part disappear entirely for the character. Like it might be the back of his head, or it might be no head at all. So what we're going to do is we're just going to submit this as is with just focusing on the face. Essentially, you're saying, hey, I want to get the right expression for this, but otherwise either everything is perfect or I can fix it later in post without much of an issue. Okay. So we'll see what kind of comes off of this. But in terms of the character reference though, you could see that the character reference as Victor screaming with his mouth open, all the results that are here have Victor screaming with his mouth open. If we didn't want that, then we just grab one of the earlier results from Midjourney of our character here. So let's do this one. Yeah. We'll copy the character reference here, slide on down to this result here, and let's go ahead and do a variation subtle. But this time, we are going to paste Victor himself, not just the a friend of ours that had to move out. Basically they were it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The point is that what we're going to do is we're basically going to add a character reference here, and we're going to submit this, and we're replacing his face here because the character reference is so strict. That face is going to look pretty decent or really derpy. We'll see what we get out of it. Character reference definitely can be a little bit hit or miss, especially when you start venturing into lower weights where you want to be because you want to explore stuff. But man, it's just so cool to be like, yep, he has a paler face. He's usually a little angrier looking, like, or at the very least annoyed. And we can see that anger, that sort of like, sort of feeling coming from these 4 results. It's really crazy to have that sort of like instant compositing skills at your disposal at your disposal at any time. So let me go ahead and reopen this guy here. Okay. And this person, Tito, is kind of doing their own thing right now, but the chaos being set to 3.5 or whatever will essentially ensure that any amount of chaos that's added will ensure that the words in your prompt are basically ignored entirely. With very high style weight and chaos values, you can find some reliability here and there, but it's more like, oh, I'm doing a psychedelic scene and I need everything to be wobbly. That makes more sense for that. What chaos allows decimals now? Yeah, I don't know. It may round it up or down. I'm not sure. So it's probably a good question to ask some of the other folks behind the scenes. Let's see here. Okay, so we have this result here. We'll just go ahead. He doesn't look very badass doing it, but I just want to show you guys here. Now that we have this saved, where it kind of looks like Victor, it kind of has the right composition, we could also just grab all of Victor's links from up here and essentially save that character for future use. But this is great. I think this will do this just fine. Okay. All right. So at this point here, let's see. What is this unexpected token error I keep getting on inpaint? If you do if you do the slash prefers or hyphen prefer, the name, right now there's a bug where the inpainting and believe variation strong sometimes will bug out when you just use the prefers. So I've been getting in the habit of just copy and pasting my links and keeping them in the clipboard so that I can just quickly paste them in there until the prefer option has been fixed inside of inpainting. Yeah. So at this point, though, then you made a wrong parameter error typo. Yeah, you could have made a wrong parameter or error typo, but it also like it's helpful to know that like oftentimes it could be a doubling up of the same parameter, right? So like you have maybe your character reference saved with the character reference like parameter in your slash prefer, or just copied and pasted in a notepad. It'll get pretty angry with you if there's 2 C-refs inside the prompt, for example. Okay, so we have all this stuff. Honestly, that was the main shot that I wanted to get was climbing up that mountain there. So what I'm going to do though is I'm going to zoom in all the way while you guys can feel free to like ask questions and whatnot. I got to take another sip of this smoothie here. I talked so much in Detroit. It was ridiculous. I am so burnt out from that. I might have to cut the stream a little earlier just because of that. So we're going to go as far as we can today. I'm going to show you guys how to animate in Midjourney today. And just be able to make the sort of like interactive Victor stuff that I've done in the past. And maybe talk a little bit about the Last Sage comic, because I know that we kind of cut that off a little short last time. But I am super excited to say that I broke 4.1 million views on the Last Sage comic. And that's bonkers. Like, that's just ridiculous that we have. Yeah, thank you so much for that. Enid, thank you. It is something that I recognize that it was entirely because we are able to have two characters interacting with each other inside of a single prompt by having two characters in your CREF. As long as they share similar outfits, oh man, it's amazing what you can do with like I saw someone on our server doing siblings, and they were like fighting with each other, right? Like, it's just so much fun to do. So I'll show a little bit of that later, but for now, what I'm going to do is take a sip of this smoothie here, and I'm going to scroll through the Ural's results here, and we are just going to check it out. I mean, there's just so much that's here. Look at the little spider dude. That kind of looks like that's Dubai. Okay. Anyway, it's the Burj Khalifa. Let's go ahead and zoom in. Okay. And I'm just going to kind of scroll through here. If there's any announcements or anything, Fnuckle, that you want to make, normally Kinky is here doing that kind of stuff. I'm not sure where she is exactly. But if there's anything that you want to announce, feel free during this time. I'm going to kind of let this slow scroll for a bit. I'll be back in about 3 minutes.
I actually do. I don't know if Pinky usually has a lot, but I only have one big one, which is that on Monday we are going to have a fun new event, just a one-time thing, and it's this guy who is from an architectural firm, actually, and it's called what's it called? Hold on. Imagine Jam on creative exploration with special guests from visionary architecture firm HWKN. And I think that's his name, Matthias Hallwich. He was like born and based in Germany and ended up starting his firm in New York, and they've done a lot of really cool AI based projects. So it's going to be like half us asking him questions and him talking about that, and like how he's like how his firm has like used AI within their briefs and whatnot, and also like half a creative like image jam with people. So it'll be fun. I'll share the link to the event, but y'all should consider coming. It'll be really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it. That's the first time I've heard of an architecture firm coming to a Discord server. You know what I mean? Like, that's super neat, let alone like doing Midjourney stuff. I do think architects immediately saw the value gain with Midjourney particularly, or just generated imagery.
Early adopters. They're probably like one of the biggest early adopters of like, I mean, I've seen a bunch of different parts of the creative industry like really get into it, and I feel like a lot of like, oh, artist versus AI thing is just like actually like once you're like actually in the industry, I don't know. I feel like there are definitely some areas where it's like a lot more but more controversial, but like there are a lot of areas where it's not. And like architecture is one of those creative industries that was super into it, especially like during V2, V3 is when it really started like gaining a lot of traction. And I remember around the time it was just a big thing because it was just like they were just like really excited about it. Because a lot of architecture work is just like concepting and like making new ideas for like how these multi-million-dollar projects could even look like in the first place. So at least when you're like designing big buildings. And so I remember like the big thing was that like V2 and V3, because it was just such a vibey kind of prompting or kind of image output. Like they just made all these like really crazy things and like interesting and new. And it's just like I just know it like exploded in like various parts of the world in the architectural scene.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because we've been working on new events and trying to get some because we've had Peter and we've had you coming on for quite a long time now.
Mhm.
So it's like, oh, like what what other areas can we look at? And there's actually a ton, and it's kind of fitting that architecture is one of the first bigger ones we're trying to dive into because the fact that it's been one of the biggest and earliest adopters of AI in the of creative industries, you know.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And like, what, especially like, I think my recommendation, because it just gets asked so many times, is a VTubing stream of some sort, even if it's just helping the construction or using some programs related to VTubing. That is probably one that I would say is the highest demand on my streams. And I'm not an expert at it. If I'm going to recommend anyone to host that has to be Rhapsody. She knocks it out of the park when it comes to getting people engaged. There's a couple different members of our streams that now are like actively using their VTuber whenever they're inside of the voice chats and stuff like that. It feels very sci-fi to have 8 VTubers talking at the same time. Like it's nuts. Whenever we do that stuff, which by the way, we do have an after party. If you join my server, you can go to the after party and essentially hang out with a bunch of us, and chat and share your projects and do all that kind of stuff. If you scroll up on the voice chat here, I'll zoom out really quick to show you guys. If you scroll up on the voice chat, you'll find the server linked here, right here. It says Gnarly Studios. If you click that, you'll be able to join our server, and it'll probably get linked a couple times. But the key thing is that when you join that, it's just a place to. It's a much smaller server, a lot more intimate in that regard, and you'll be able to just hang out and get to know everyone there, because we're all kind of doing the same thing. We're all just storytellers. And we have a fantasy nexus, which means that it's a place for you to submit, to interact with our official fantasy series that we are very slowly working on. And I promise I'm going to give updates on that soon. It's just after Web Comic Con and everything that happened because of that. It's been really busy for me, but the otherwise it's like some people are doing straight video, like they're only prompting with AI video, but they're using Midjourney to create the initial image that the video is based off of. Okay, so you'll find a huge variety of people trying to tell stories. The huge variety of people telling stories with Midjourney, in various different mediums. And when it comes to, I love this. Oh my God. Okay, I'm gonna upres this. The thing about this is that, and I guess the only thing I want to add when it comes to architecture in general, is that I see so much application for working with customers, particularly. Like if you are mocking up, like you can just so quickly say, "Hey, I want a very green space." And the client can go, no, I would rather it be a little more cold. I'd rather it be a little more. And the clients don't really talk like that. They talk more like, I want it to look prettier. Like they say something that doesn't actually mean, like, I want it to pop. Like stuff like that is obnoxious, but it's what customers ask for, and you're supposed to translate it. And architecture and just working with commissions, especially, you can get your clients to actually submit revisions of your designs in real time. So it means that collaboration with your clients is possible now, with programs with systems like Midjourney. It's awesome. I love it. But in terms of like the client, company or firm relationship, that would be my main reason to join that architecture thing, is not just to see what they do, but also to see how they now interact with their customers as compared to how they used to. So be sure to join that event. You can click interested here, and that will let you be able to be notified in your local time zone when it goes live. So that's awesome. Very, very cool. And we've also have the prompt battles linked here. Gallifrey is linked the Saturday and Sunday prompt battles. So the prompt battles are the best place to actually learn or see the sheer diversity of ways that people use Midjourney, because they're all competing against each other for the top image for free fast hours. So it's really, really great way to like be able to just quickly it's a very, very great way to just casually learn how people use Midjourney, because everyone uses it a little bit differently. That's what's so amazing about what we can do here, is you kind of learn your own methods, your own workflows. And every time there's a new version of Midjourney, we have to relearn them all over again. So it's at least with version 6.1, that jump wasn't too crazy. It just kind of beefed up certain aspects, particularly anatomy. But it is so important to join these like events, because it just lets you see new ways to do things. So thank you guys so much for joining here with me. I focus on characters. I focus on storytelling with character prompts, particularly image prompting, character referencing, and style referencing. But the at least in my experience, when we're doing this kind of stuff, a lot of times people are very strictly minded, like they have a very traditional way or mindset of doing things, and you really need to think more like out of the box. You need to let Midjourney become a collaborator with you, rather than saying, "Hey, I need to do this shot, this shot, this shot, this shot perfectly." The best way to, in my opinion, to use Midjourney is to just explore with it, to find new spaces, new environments, new things to look at, and just tell stories that Midjourney is helping you find, right? Because we're largely doing found media here, right? There are plenty of ways, exciting ways to actually control Midjourney more directly than that. Particularly with image prompting your own art, like we're doing here at Fnuckled today. But I do have a thing that I'll show as an example here to show you just the sheer, how can I say, at least how I make the Sage comics. I will go ahead and pull this up from my server here. Just a moment. This is how we do image prompting with sketches, or doodles, or thumbnails, whatever you want to call them. So I'm going to grab this link here. There we go. And I'm going to zoom in here so you guys can see this, but I'm also going to paste this inside of VC text here, so that you guys can save this image and share it with other people, especially for people who say, "Oh, you only hit a button. Like, that's not real work. You're not doing anything. You're not making art." They're full of it. They're full of it because they don't know what they're talking about. They never actually used these things before. So this is a little infographic. You're welcome to click it inside of VC text, or I will hold on. I will have, yes, the Ministry of Silly Walks is my subject here. So I'm going to zoom in so we can talk about it here really quick. I use the Silly Walks to kind of illustrate something that people, like an homage to Monty Python, so that you can get basically do like screenshots of like popular media, memes. We even have an entire meme challenge inside of our server. So if you want to essentially have a personalized version of a popular meme with your character, use it as an image prompt at the start of your prompt, and then you include a character reference with that. So that's what I did here. And the thing about this is that the main thing to focus on is actually these little thumbnails that are here. This is Vicky being a chicken. One of my comics, the second to last one that I did, has Vicky basically like bucking to somebody over the phone. So they're being obnoxious and being honestly a jerk over the phone while someone's trying to talk. And what we do is we start with this image and we include that at the front of the prompt. So I have a couple of examples inside of this graphic here. But that red link here is the image prompt. So we start with the image and then we say what we want, like we describe what's inside of the thumbnail. So in this example, I have a face getting pressed by a hand. Okay. And all of the blue links are the character reference. All right. And that is of Vicky. And you can see on the bottom left corner of the infographic, we have every individual image that represents Vicky is included as the character reference here. And I just ran it as style raw because that tends to give us more usable assets for my comics and stuff. You don't have to use style raw, but it'll help reduce the number of like stylized artifacts and things like randomized elements that may not be useful to you. It'll lower that. So what I did is I clicked the first option here, and then I simply did a very region of her face and said hand. And because I removed the character reference, it no longer preserved Vicky's face and replaced it with a hand. If you notice inside of the original result of that, you could see Vicky's face in full right here. So if I just basically vary region in paint and then delete the entire character reference and leave the existing prompt where it says hand pressed into face, that's the result you get. Oops, I'm scrolling. There you go. That's the result we get. Okay. Which is to me hilarious. I think this is a hilarious image. Like just she's like, I'm in danger, and then maybe gets thrown or something, which is one of the things that happens in the comic. But just to give you guys a second example, I included this middle one here. You start with the image prompt, and we're directing the composition with this image prompt. And then I wrote hands and armpits with the character reference. And you could see here that the initial result is okay, but it is very, very minimal. Like there's all sorts of like roughness to it. Sometimes your skin isn't even colored in there, right? And that's because it's seeing the negative space inside of the image prompt. It's going, okay, her skin's white, her shirt is white. There's nothing there except for the line art. Okay. So on its own, these are cool, but they're not very functional for me. Like they're not the final product. We're basically, if you pick the initial results from your Midjourney stuff, you tend to be chastised more because you're making AI, like basically you're just making AI art that's not really with any intent. It has some intent, sure, but what we do to get this to be cleaned up and finalized is that we then run a variation subtle on whichever result is the closest one that you get, which for me was the first one up here, the top left. By doing a variation subtle, but then deleting the image prompt, so deleting the sketch that's at the front here, we get this. And that was the final image that I used. It not only had her hands like perfectly like in sync with the shot that I was going for, but it's just great. It's just exactly what I was looking for. And I ended up zooming out of this and saying she's doing a chicken dance. And that's exactly how I made her bucking and all that stuff in the comic. I'll pull up the comic for you guys just so you guys have it. Let's go to my profile here real quick. And I will grab this inside of posts here. Just a second. There we go. I'll copy the link to this. It did blow up on Instagram like so much more, so I will link the Instagram one instead. Profile here, and there we go. And get this inside of VC text for you guys. I'm going to post it here. There you go. So the comic itself is basically Sage's mother answering Sage's answering machine for her, which is very distressful thing. It's like any sort of personal message is one physical button away for everyone in the room to hear. Any sort of Gen Alphas or Gen Zs in the room will not know what this experience is like, to have an embarrassing phone call that was recorded and someone else is in the room to hear it. Because yes, you might have answered your cell phone on speaker, but this is like that on like with you have no idea who called. It just says there's a there's a new message coming in. But in this comic here, we have Vicky doing the chicken dance. Okay. So it's not going to let me zoom in here. Hold on. Let's see if I can run old.reddit really quick. I probably should do this outside just in case there's like some cringy thing that some Redditor posted for this. So let's go ahead and get the direct link to it really quick. There we go. Okay, perfect. Oops. Just a sec. Okay. So if I now scroll, you can see here's Sage's cats. They're all the same character reference in this one, except for the black cat who's being super derpy. That I always prompt that one separately as another one. But here is Vicky doing the chicken dance, and you could see the differences of compared to the final product versus what I had. I'll zoom out a little more. There we go. And the main difference is that I changed her mouth, I changed her eye line, and I made her arms like going up and down, and that was all drawn. So I'm drawing over my generated results, but everything else came from zooming out in Midjourney. Okay. Even the background for this shot was zoomed out of that result because I in-painted around her arms and stuff like that. So by cleaning up little teeny incorrect things, right? Like including like you see how there's like the plants, right, that are on the ground here. I had to like in-paint a new ledge for it to make sense. These are all very, very useful things that, these are all little details that I changed and added to make the final image here. But the main thing is that she's a little bit cross-eyed. Like Vicky she wears these huge, thick, like Coke bottle glasses that are really thick because I did. My dad did. We all wore really thick glasses until I got LASIK about 9 years ago. So Vicky is my gender bent version of myself. We are both jackasses. So it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun being a woman in the 90s and just annoying the characters that I've gotten my fans used to, right? So the reason I needed to add Vicky to the comic series was because normally the comic focuses on just Michael and Sage, and I wanted to really start developing a complete cast for the show, or basically treating it like a show. But I also wanted to have an antagonist. I wanted someone who was going to be obnoxious, that was going to annoy my characters. And Michael and Sage, they get along, like they're best buds and stuff. So I wanted someone to come in there and kind of smack up the situation to kind of keep things fresh and interesting. And that's largely Vicky's role. Vicky will have a bigger role later on, and we'll dig into that whenever I get into it. But yeah, I just had so much fun working with this comic in particular. But the next comic is the one that broke 4.1 million views because it discusses what happens after this phone call. So yeah, very, very fun. Had a lot of fun making this, and it was actually the recommendation of another comic artist to make the speech bubble the shape of a chicken. And I was like, that's genius, because not everyone's going to understand what fuck means. But as soon as you add the silhouette of the chicken into there, which by the way is like, I just generated a generic chicken and then silhouetted it myself and then threw it on top of my existing speech bubble. That's how I made this and redrew the outline to match. Bill, okay. All right. I really quickly, I see that this comment is said from Legal Beagle. Bill is an antagonist, but he's also kind of super derivative of of like Atlantis and other things. I'll bring Bill back into the equation later. He's not a recurring character. He's more of a guest character. by comparison. So yeah, that's how I made Vicky dance like a chicken, was because I drew it first, and then had Midjourney do the rest of the hard work for me. I really just did thumbnails. And when I was working in entertainment, for the folks that don't know, I am a former visual effects artist for Adult Swim. I worked for a company, a couple different companies that are Adult Swim production houses in Los Angeles. I worked on shows like Robot Chicken, Maury Errol, and Titan Maximum, and there's a couple more in there too that are more less known. Like we did a couple State Farm ads, things like that. But during that time, it was largely working with puppets. I was cleaning up the errors, the visual errors, the artifacts and problems that were in these images. So I'm used to working with puppets, and Midjourney kind of gives me the exact same workflow, the exact same experience of working with those puppets, because I'm not the one physically manipulating the puppets. I'm the one who's there to like correct errors, to make fixes. And now those fixes that I'm doing are on my characters, not on the characters from TV shows and stuff like that. So it's so neat. It's just so neat to be able to be like, all right, yep, I generated Sage's mother because she is a derivative of Sage. I was literally like, okay, I want my character, but I need her to be a hippie, or otherwise a more granola, I guess is what they call it now, a more granola version of Sage. And I needed her to be older, so I described her as a mother, and just did variation strongs until I got someone that I believed looked like Vicky's mother. I'm sorry, looked like Sage's mother. Very proud of Destiny. Actually, I love this character. The results of her character reference are so much fun. So yeah. But if you guys have any questions or anything like that, I'm going to dig through the text chat here. If you go into Midjourney here and you see VC text, that's where you could actually ask us questions and see your questions show up on YouTube here. I'm going to be doing this for another like 15 minutes or so. And then we'll do the after party on my stream. My voice is like almost gone, guys. So I'm going to be having a bit shorter. Normally I'm streaming for about another hour, but is that a problem, Fnuckled? Is that okay if we cut it in about 15?
Oh yeah, sorry. I'm actually dealing with, there's a bunch of new errors and stuff. So
okay, yeah.
I'm just anyways. Sorry.
Okay. No, that's perfect. That's perfect. That means we'll cut it short. Then anyway, it's all good. But let's see what your all's questions are here. And then we'll go from there. Let's see. Gallifrey says, would painting some rudimentary colors on the initial sketch help or just muddy the waters, so to speak? I would do that for Sage's hair. So like if I wanted her hair to have layers to it, I would colorize the hair itself. So if I wanted her to have hair that dangles in front of her face, I will create a lighter shade for the front of her hair and a darker shade for the back of her hair. And it helps control the hair a little better, especially when you're just talking about loose outlines or thumbnails otherwise. It does help. It definitely does help, but it at some point you can go too far, or you're simply just going to end up drawing the whole damn thing. You know what I mean? So it's a matter of experimenting and seeing what works for your specific characters. Sometimes your characters really need that image prompt to guide them. Like I have a friend of mine that's working with robot characters right now, and the image prompting lets them make sure they always get a Cyclops character, like a robot with a single eye in the middle of the face, because Midjourney wants to make things anatomically correct by default. It wants to make two eyes on the face. So by image prompting, you will always be able to get that single eye in the center of the robot face because it's inside of your image prompt. And then let's see. So yes, I would recommend experimenting with colorizing your thumbnails, but at a point, if you go too far with it, you might as well just draw the damn thing. So from there, let's see. We have I have not really tried yet. Okay, wait, this is a reply to someone else. Sorry, I'll read more. Let's see. Destiny is great, but her dad is also a lot of fun. Yeah, yeah. I won't spoil it for people who haven't read the comic or anything like that. But Vern is a lot of fun. I really do like Vern. He's a wonderful character reference. Let's see. Really Smart says Moral Oral was always my favorite. I need to rewatch it. Okay. I like you a lot, Really Smart. Thank you for saying that. Moral Oral was also one of my favorites. And then I ended up working on the finale of it. They brought the show back. I definitely wasn't working at Adult Swim while the show was actually running. So I worked on the Before Oral special, what came out after, like more than a couple years after the show ended. So it just kind of catches you up on the backstory of the of the dad more than anything, and as well as give some closure to the show. On its own, the show ends incredibly depressingly. Like it's super depressing show by the end of it. By the end of season 3, you'll be probably wanting to cry. It is just one of those shows that that kind of wrecks people, honestly. I'm really proud to work on a show that makes people miserable. I'm sorry, but that's what it is. It's Dino Stamatopoulos, and I'm probably butchering his last name right now. The former SNL writer. He's known as Starburns on Community. He was effectively my like third boss, but he never really told me what to do. That man. The only thing he ever did with me was he served me watermelon once. But I love that man. We talked about a bunch of random stuff. And he's probably my favorite person I ever. He's at the very least, he is the most real man in Hollywood. As in, you can come up to him and he will not beat around the bush. He will not tell you. He will not kiss your ass in any way, shape, or form. I love that man. And yeah. Anyway, I could keep praising him, but let's see what other comments do we have here. Gompasa said, join Victor's server today, still learning what's in there. I need to refine my Nia character more. She isn't the most consistent right now. Yeah, and there are people there to help you as well as me. When able, I'm able to chime in and jump in. There's a couple different stories that people are actively making right now. One of them kind of sounds like Scavenger's Reign, from a new user. He just joined a couple days ago, but he's been going hard for like 3 days. It's been really great seeing such fast progress with some of you guys. Then let's see here. We have, I wonder if we as a group could make a library of pose reference images for the server. Oh yeah, absolutely. I think that we should make a resources. We have something called the compendium that we're working on. We're trying to, I mean, I'm recommending that we go for less nerdy phrases, but like, yes. So like we're going to end up at a place where we have all sorts of different references as well as places to drop your characters. So I'm just going to show that really quick because I know that a few people are going to jump in that server and go, what do I do? What's going on here? So I'm going to hit show servers here and I'm going to jump into Gnarly Studios. And inside of this server, you'll find a bunch of different channels, but at the top here, you'll see text chat. That's where you guys can all hang out and chat, and you'll see all sorts of memes and things people are hanging out and doing. But inside of that, you also find media share, which is where people share the final products of their stuff, but also like the stuff that they like to see online. And there's just other things going on there. Which, by the way, I Troll For You made an absolutely amazing comic, and I'm going to post that inside of VC text for you guys. But I'm also going to zoom in on it really quick. This comic, what's so amazing about it is that it features a bunch of you guys. Okay, so it says Victor. He's getting a call on his phone. Victor, you got a deal. But we need that storyboard now. Rhapsody, command the power users. And like it's so fun to see you guys smashing all of the characters together that are like your OCs, right? These are real people that are being represented here. We have Drolinak, we got Legal Beagle, we got Krabbis, which Krabbis is Felix's character. We got Rhapsody front and center, of course. We got I Troll For You and his ridiculous snake dragon thing with the mustache. This guy's so goofy. And then we have the emu. It's so hard to pronounce this character. The emo emu in the corner here, and then we have Zero as well. Zero is the new VTuber. She just started her character and was VTubing with us last week, so that was really fun. And she's there already. And it's been like that character has been it is in the server for only a couple days, and she's already featured in the comic. We got Ancient poking his head out of the top here. And this is the only one that I didn't know. Honestly, I need somebody to tell me who the character is on the far left here. But yeah. And and there's another Easter egg here, which is the folks who don't have OCs have been actually added to the back of Legal Beagle's laptop. So like we have X Slayer, who's like probably my oldest member. Like he's been on the server since I had like 25 people in it. So yeah, there's a whole lot of representation here. Love it. Absolutely love it. But we'll hop back over to the chat here. Beep. There you go. The one on the left is Fun Guy. Oh, is it Fun Guy Mancer? Okay, cool. Yeah, he's great. We had a sloth character that he was using for a while, and that was a lot of fun. Okay, sweet. Thank you so much, I troll for you. That guy deserves all the praise. So I'm gonna give him a little scaly boy, dancing boy there. Because yeah, you did a great job with that, man. That was really fun. And of course another heart there too. Cool. But yes, I can't link the server again here, guys. So you're more than welcome to scroll up like this until you hit the invite link for the Gnarly Studios server here. It's right here. If you see my signature, which by the way, that's not my real signature. Okay, that's not. I generated a signature based on quoting my name. I said, "Give me the signature for Victor Gnarly," and it says the full name. And this is back at V4 Midjourney, and I was like, I really like the G and the N merging like that. That looks really cool. And so I've used that ever since. And here's the funny part about it. I have now used it so much physically, I now sign with it in real life. Okay. So I've signed now so many times, like physical artwork pieces that I've made with the Gnarly logo signature. That is definitely not my natural signature. Which by the way, there is a good tip. This is not related to AI, but anyone that does art really needs to know this. Okay. Which is, if you sign your art, don't use your legal signature. Don't use what you write your checks with. Okay. Because that's a very, very, very easy way to get doxxed, like to get your bank account compromised, to have legal documents signed not by you, is because there's a public artwork that you've submitted that has the exact same signature that's on your checkbook or on the back of your credit card. This is an incredibly common problem. Like, seriously, guys, don't do that. Make up a fun little emblem for you to represent you or something like that. Gallifrey said, yes, I sadly learned this lesson the hard way many moons ago. Signs with something stylized. Yes, please sign something that isn't your legal signature. Not giving any legal advice, but don't do that. Yes, Legal Beagle here. I love how he has to always clarify. I'm not going to give legal advice, but don't do that. That's great. Oh, we got another Dancy Skelly boy next to, of course. Okay, that's great. Okay, such a lawyer. Yes, he is such a lawyer. Okay, awesome, guys. At this point, I only got like 3 minutes left here, so I'm gonna just say this. Thank you so much for joining this stream here today. I know it's a bit of a short one today. We were really just digging into Fnuckle's glitch art. But I will go ahead and zoom myself all the way back up to the top of VC Create here from today. And I will link that inside of the stream chat for the server. And I'll show you guys where to join the server once you all do. Because we have a lot of different stuff from you guys inside of... Ooh, that's on my server. Hold on a second. Let me jump back over to Midjourney really quick. My bad. I ended up just going through media share there for a minute. So I'm just going to zoom ourselves all the way to the top of our deep dive today. Thank you so much for linking that, Fnuckle. That's awesome. Thank you so much. You just click that join button and you'll be able to you'll be able to join us on the Gnarly server. I must have I used the ping function from everybody, but we had a very inactive member group there for a little bit at the very beginning. So I when I hit that prune button, we lost a couple hundred people. But those people were inactive. They weren't interacting with us. They're not really doing anything with us anyway. It's not a big deal. I don't really care about numbers when it comes to this stuff. But when it comes to Reddit, I really care about numbers because that essentially means that like it shows how far we can see this technology go in terms of like how people are using it, the adoption rate. Like it gives me an idea of like, oh, people are legitimately interested in my stuff, or it's so on and so forth. There's a really interesting overlap between the data stuff that we learn from the insights and the kind of folks who end up prompting and making stuff with us. And a lot of it comes from Reddit. Like a lot of the people who are joining my server outside of Midjourney that are just curious about AI, a lot of artists especially, they come from Reddit. So this was the first image we prompted today here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit copy message link, and I'm going to also include the image here, and then I'm going to hop ourselves back over to my server. And inside of my server, there's a channel called the stream log or the stream content here. And I'll say the Friday stream, Friday the 9th stream started here. I'll paste the link to it and then include the image itself. Okay. Boom. And that way, if you guys are ever curious, if you ever want to jump back and start at the very beginning of this stream, just click that link and you'll be right back to where we were at the very beginning. So you can even like follow along. I didn't realize people were doing this until they told me that they were doing it. They would find the stream start, right? And then start watching my YouTube video so that they can like remix it or catch it at the same time. Super, super cool. I did not realize people were doing that until someone PM'd me about it. So yeah, that's it. If there's any questions or anything like that, feel free to jump into the after party. Rhapsody, myself, and a bunch of other people are going to be chatting with you guys directly. That's where you can actually jump on the stage and start talking with us and share your projects. I'm really curious to see your projects. I'll be about 5 minutes late only because my dogs need to go pee. But anything else, just feel free to jump in there and ask questions. So thank you so much for joining, everybody. And, thank you guys. I'll dig into Webcomic-Con next time. My voice is so hoarse though. I'll probably be pretty quiet at the after party for a little bit too. So we'll see what happens. But thank you guys so much. Thank you. And
thanks for using my art. That was super cool.
No. Thank you so much for being here. I want you to come back, but not when you're like chaotically like trying to fix any sort of bugs or problems. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, everything like started like it was that we have not had this many errors in like such a short. I'm like, guys, I think the subscriptions are broken. Also Remix is broken. Also another thing. Just like, guys, like the main guy that does the subscription stuff is like out of office, and I'm like, do we need to phone call him? Like, I can't. So yeah, sorry. I was like,
no, you're good. You're good. It's as long as Remix
my job.
No, it's like as long as Remix mode is live, I'm good. So it's like
I don't know. I mean, you're getting some errors of that. So if you're like getting around that, you're getting lucky. I don't know. Yeah, this is like half my job. Like people don't see it, but like half my job is just like people are like things are broken, and I'm like the one to tell people that they're broken.
Yeah,
like too, which is really fun.
Right. Well, we appreciate your hard work and service and sacrifice, Fnuckle. It is definitely appreciated from the community. I promise you.
Well, thank you.
Well, you definitely deserve more praise, though.
Go get your dogs that need to go pee.
Right. Okay, guys.
Fun if you're at the party.
Awesome. Bye. See you guys.